Welcome in, Big Blue Nation, to another episode of the Cats Talk podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Johnston, joined by my co-host, Jacob Boyers. Jacob, usually you and I watch basketball games together, and it goes one of two ways. We either have a resounding victory or a blowout. And early in this game against the Florida Gators, it looked like we were getting the latter of the two. Kentucky obviously failed to get the win on the road in Gainesville, lost 92 to 83. But Jacob, when they were down 10-2 to start the game, I know you and I were looking at each other and we were just like, oh boy, how bad can this get?
Oh, yeah. What, 30? I think it was 32-17 there midway through the first half. And, yeah, it looked pretty bleak. And then, Denzel Aberdeen caught some magic and, a couple guys made some plays and we were right in it. I think it kind of played out really from that 15-point hole on, kind of played out exactly like we talked about. Kentucky would be within 6 to 10 for most of the game, fighting and clawing and feeling like maybe if you just got an extra shot to fall or were able to keep one of those offensive rebounds up out of Florida's hands that led to like a big three, maybe you could have climbed back in there and found a way to have a chance down the stretch. But yeah, I mean, we talked about it right before we hopped on. Just we both think Florida's a really good team. They're playing, I think, as well as anybody in the country. And, with the way they rebound and how good they are inside when they're hitting 10-plus threes, I think Cogden said it, and I agree with him completely. Like, there's nobody, I don't think, in college basketball that can beat them. And I would put them up there with Arizona and Michigan if they're going to shoot the way that they shot on Saturday. So I think that makes it tough. But overall, I thought the Cats played pretty well outside of maybe a couple guys that I know we'll get into. But all in all, I think, Florida's not going to shoot like that, I don't think, in very many games. Their percentage for the year, I think, dictates that. And I told you Saturday as we were leaving, I can't wait to get them back in Rupp because I do feel way more confident about that game than I did probably even going into this one.
Yeah, well, let's table that for the end. That way we can end this on a positive note because we've got some things to talk about in this that obviously are not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. The first half, and the crazy part about this is we look back and, you and I were talking about it throughout the game. We were not getting killed on the glass, which is what you and I thought could be something that would get this team, down in a hole early. It was something we actually managed to. I mean, Malachi Moreno. I mean, I just want to give him all the credit in the world, fighting with Robert Chinaloo and to come out with a double-double and just – I was blown away with how he played, honestly. Like, there's some individual plays where I think if you look at our post players, Jake, I'm not sure who finishes well in traffic. I don't know if we have one. It seems like none of those guys can finish around the basket right now, and I'm not sure if that's something that's going to get any better. But if you remember, in that first half, we had 9 turnovers in that first half, and a lot of them were early in that first 10 minutes of the first half. And Florida had 16 points off of turnovers in that first half. And, I mean, that was a huge reason as to why you were down 9 going into it.
Yeah, it was weird. We kept saying it like, the result wasn't surprising, kind of where we were and losing at half, but the way our backcourt was playing so poorly. You mentioned the turnovers. I mean, that turnover where Jasper's trying to get to the corner to call a timeout and it leads to just a breakaway dunk for Boogie Flan was pretty inexcusable. I think there were quite a few first half turnovers that were just inexcusable, but like, again, you thought it would be more so like kind of how the second half played out where Florida was just grabbing every rebound and constantly getting second chance points. I mean, at one point, I don't remember if it was at half or right before, but like I told you, they showed it on the graphic, and like Kentucky had 2 more rebounds than Florida while missing a lot more shots. So that means we were getting more offensive rebounds than, they were. We were clearly, doing a good job on the defensive side, holding them to 1 possession. But to an extent, like Florida just kind of caught some fire there and didn't miss a whole lot. But I will say, like you mentioned, Malachi, I think he was probably by far the best player on the floor. He's got to learn to kind of stay out of foul trouble. I know that's a learning curve, but like also you're playing Florida, and it's probably a matchup where you're going to pick up some. But to go 11-11 there and just 20 minutes and play a lot of the second half with 4 fouls. I think it was a pretty impressive game out of the freshmen.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, the rebounding margin at halftime, it was even. And you
Yeah.
mentioned Florida shot 50% from the field, 17 to 34. Kentucky 37%, 12 of 32. So I mean, we were handling ourselves on the glass in that first half, and that's kind of something I alluded to you is why I thought even in the second half this game could potentially get even further away from them. Because I didn't think that was something we were going to be able to do for the rest of the game. It turns out, Florida is one of the best rebounding teams in the country, so let's not
Yep.
make any mistake about that. They still ended up they out rebounded us by 8 in the second half, so it started to go a little bit more of that way. You started to see Chinaloo, which by the way, I guess this is probably where we can start to get some of these officiating, criticisms and critiques out. The dude was parked in the lane every possession. Like
Nate Evans complained about it a couple weeks ago.
it felt like at any point you could have gotten him for a 3-second violation. At any point you could have called it at any time. I mean, there was a possession that I'm thinking of off the top of my head where he's just like shoving Denzel Aberdeen from like the neck down and still staying there for 3 seconds. It was a poorly officiated game. They were calling everything there for a while, then decided to start calling nothing for a bit of stretch. Second half, they had 14 minutes left when they got into the bonus.
Yeah.
Jake, I know we try not to talk about officiating too much on this, but in a game like this where you only lose by 9, I don't think it was a 9-point swing, the officiating, but it still definitely did lean in Florida's favor.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, multiple things can be true, right? Florida was better than us. Florida played better than us. They shot the ball well enough to deserve the win. But the second half, the foul discrepancy just was what it was. Like you said, Florida in the bonus by 14 minutes. Kentucky didn't get there till like 4 minutes left. So a 10-minute difference. And it's not like both
17
teams
fouls to 9 in the second half.
Yeah, and it's not like both teams were playing a completely different style. I would understand it if one team's playing a complete perimeter game and not driving the basketball, but like they both were playing very similar styles. I thought there were obviously a few missed calls on Florida. You mentioned Chinaloo. He had a couple times where like he came up to set a screen and just like shoved somebody like to the ground, and those weren't called. There was a couple big either missed travel calls or that
There was a
led
lot
to
of travel calls. Condon specifically, man,
yeah,
it felt like anytime
I
he'd
told
catch the
you
ball in
every
traffic.
there was somebody a couple years ago that I felt the same way about, and I'm blanking on who it was, but Congdon, yeah, every time he's shuffling his feet, and that led to multiple threes. I think that kind of killed us at times where me and you were screaming travel at the TV. But I mean, I'm with you. Chinaloo, he everybody compares him to Oscar. I think he gets officiated kind of similar to Oscar. I remember Oscar would camp in the lane forever, and nobody ever called it on him. So, we had it in our favor for 2 years, but I get it. It's pretty frustrating, but I think there was just a combination of things. One, obviously, Owe doesn't play well. You don't play good enough down the stretch, turn the ball over too much, and the officials don't do you any favors and probably shoot you in the foot a little bit. And I think to only lose by 9 with all those, I'm not going to say it's a good thing, but I don't look at this game like the sky is falling, like maybe we were talking about after Vandy or some of these other games earlier in the year.
I honestly don't know how to look at this game because there are certain things I look at and I am very pleased with the outcome of how they played. And then there are certain things that I'm thinking, I just don't know if that's replicable. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that against a Florida team again. Like, I don't think Otega Owe is going to play that bad against Florida the next time we play. You could argue outside of maybe Brandon Garrison, Otega Owe was the worst player on the floor for Kentucky.
I'd agree with that.
And I think that's shown by a lot of the plus minus as well. The only one who's even close to that number that Otega had a minus 11 was Jasper Johnson.
Yeah,
but then
Jasper
again, I also don't think that we are going to shoot 45% from 3 and knock down 9 threes against Florida next time out. I don't think we're going to keep the rebound total within 8 against Florida. So I'm looking at it from 2 different aspects. One of like your star player did not show up in the slightest on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball. and you manage to stay within 9 when Florida hit 10 threes, which they're not used, they're not accustomed to winning that style of basketball. But also, we played a style of basketball that I don't know if that's something we can replicate going forward either. So I really have no idea how to take this game. I'm somewhat pleased with how good I thought Florida was, and especially going back a couple weeks, if you would have said, "Hey, a game for the SEC lead, you're down in Florida, you lose by 9." You tell me all these extracurricular factors, I'm definitely signing up for it. I don't know where to take it because I'm somewhat pleased and somewhat timid about what's going forward.
Yeah, and I mean, you could point to, like you said, like maybe Kentucky's not going to shoot the ball as well, but I think if I told you a lot of what happened in this game was going to happen prior to it, I think we both would have thought like we're going to lose by 30 plus. If I tell you Owe goes 4 of 14, Denzel takes 21 shots and goes 9 of 21. I mean, I know he had obviously some big moments, but I think he also took quite a few bad shots. But like if I told you both of those happened, BG is essentially a non-factor when he is in, and we miss 15 layups, and Florida makes 10 threes. I think all that on paper replicates to us getting ran off the floor. So,
Jake, if you remember, like what I had told you, I don't remember if we said it on there, if it's something you and I just talked about. I said between the four, everybody in our backcourt, Otega Owe, Denzel, Colin, and Jasper Johnson, I thought you needed 65 points from the four of them.
Yeah, I was with you on that.
Yeah, to be able to win this game. You had 32 combined between Otega and Denzel, 18 from Colin, so we got 50 there, and then Jasper added you 6. 56 points. Jake, what did we lose by? We lost by 9. So, 65 right on the dot there is what you needed from those guys. I'm just going to, you heard it here first. I don't know if I said it on air, though. It's the only bad things. I don't remember if I said it on air. I know I said it. I just don't remember if I said it on
air. We talked about it before the game, but I think we also talked about it when we were saying what needs to happen for them to win. And we both agreed, like, we had to win this game with our backcourt. And unfortunately, like, it was just kind of a pretty bad Otega game. You mentioned it.
You might have to take it a step further.
Yeah, I mean, there were some bad shots. He had that stretch where like he made the and one, and then I think had another kind of drive and finish. Yeah, but like, yeah, it's to the point where if he makes an and one, I'm assuming he's missing the free throw. I mean, I know he's not shooting a great percentage from the line as of late to begin with, but he's got to be shooting 0% on and one conversions because he had like 4 against Arkansas, missed all of them. So yeah, definitely a bad game from Otega. So I'm with you. Like there were some things that probably Kentucky won't replicate in Rupp, but like there's also a handful of factors that I think will be better in Rupp. In particular Owe and the fact that Florida made 10 threes.
Yeah, especially with it being the fact that Urban Klavskar
he
made 5 of those. I mean,
Lee had 4, I think, right? They had 9.
David Lee had 4, and if you remember, 3 of those were in the first 5 minutes of the game.
They were big ones.
It looked like, Jake, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong on this, but it looked like at first in the middle of this game we were heavily going under ball screens. Any ball screen that was getting switched, we were going under, and Zaven Lee made them pay for that immediately. And then we started switching things, and that's when Zaven Lee started getting downhill and started converting around the rim. And I think that might just be where you can look at it and say the difference in this game was we weren't converting when we were getting downhill. I mean, how many missed layups did we have in this game?
15.
15.
But I will say, like
a lot of those were contested.
Yeah, like that's what, like if you look at everybody when they play Florida, they're missing double-digit layups on paper, and it's because of how long and lengthy they are. But
but that really is like, and the thing is, it's not even. Normally, we point to that, and it's Otega's missing around the rim or Denzel's missing around the rim. This was everybody in this game. This wasn't just those two. I mean, BG missed a couple.
Diabate, where he grabbed that rebound and like, two hands shoved it to like the top of the square on the backboard. Like
I thought he was going to break it. Honestly,
He literally just overhead threw the ball as hard as he could at the square.
I for all the
I,
good that, and I kind of want to let's go ahead and stay with Mo Diabate in this game because
real quick before you
I'm
do
in.
it, I
Yep.
do. You were talking about going under the screens, and as somebody that is kind of complained all season about us going under screens in every game, I do think this is one on paper like that probably is the right decision, especially early. Like when you look at Florida being a team that's shooting, 30% or whatever from behind the arc, their main goal when they're setting a screen is to try to get one of those big guys going to the basket. So I understand why you were going under so often. And, Lee just had one of his better shooting nights. And I think that kind of just gets chalked up. But, I've been extremely critical of when they've done that this year, but I do kind of see that this game that would probably be your best game plan, especially starting out. But go ahead with Mel.
Well, yeah. Just to reiterate what you had just said, I agree with doing it to Xavier Lee. He was shooting 27% from three coming into the
Right.
game. If that's how you get beat, we'll take it. We'll figure it out because obviously we don't have the size advantage down low, so you don't want to get beat to the paint. But when it comes to like Klevskar, I
Yeah.
I mean, he was coming in shooting over 40% from three
He's their
coming
one
into this
shooter.
game. Like he was their shooter. We went under on two to start the game, and he was hot, and then it just kept flying. But to what we were talking about with Mo, I thought he was terrific in this game. I
I
mean,
do.
we're going to talk about, and this might just be something we have to live with, where you're just going to see some of those two-handed shot puts directly through the backboard. Might just be something we have to live with. But 9 points, 5 rebounds in 25 minutes, had 2 assists as well and a steal, made some good passes. I mean, this is a game that it should be, what his strong suit is, and this should be like the better type of games that he has. But for how critical we were of Mo early on, I feel like he really has found his niche and found his role in this team. And now we're just getting to the point of let's have the Brandon Garrison conversation here again too, because you're a game and a half removed from him having a double double in his best career performance to having 0 points, 3 rebounds in 18 minutes and looking unplayable on all aspects of the floor.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing with Mo is not just the stats, because like statistically, this also still was one of his, a better game from him. But I think the intensity that he brought and kind of the physicality and we said he was the most physical one of our guys, but he's given up 4 inches to every single one of Florida's front court players, like
If
across the
not more,
board.
dude.
Yeah,
I've walked past Mo and talked to him.
right.
I
Well,
don't even know if he's a full 6'7",
yeah.
honestly.
So 6'6", 6'7", whatever it is, and you're going up against all guys that are hovering around the 7 foot mark. So like he's given up a lot of size, but his intensity and effort, I think, was the thing that was the best about him. And that's not something, to your point, that we saw earlier in the year, but really since kind of SEC play, he got benched for Yelovich. I thought that has been significantly better. And if you tell me you're going to continue to kind of get this from Mel, then I feel pretty good about him going forward. And you just kind of know he's going to play 20-ish, 25 minutes, and that's what he's going to bring you. And I'm good with it. And then that comes back to Brandon Garrison, and I think that's what's so disappointing with BG is you would expect some of that intensity and fight from him. Like all week leading up to this game, since last Saturday, you didn't have another game. All you're hearing is like, does Kentucky's front court have enough to like go and get this? And you saw really good effort out of Mo. You saw obviously a really good game and effort out of Malachi. He obviously brought it. I thought Yelovich tried to bring it. I just like this is just a tough matchup for him, but like there was never a moment where I thought like he was getting out effort. I just think some of the things defensively he struggles with just because that's the player he is. I thought, he had a couple
I
bad
mean,
turnovers, but he made some
even
shots too. Like he was kind of a so-so game. So for all three of those guys to kind of bring it mentally and intensity wise, and then you get to BG and it's just not there. It was extremely disappointing. Like we know what BG's flaws are as a player. We've talked about him at length, obviously, for almost 2 years now. But this is the kind of game like he should have had that intensity from moment one, and it felt like he never really got anything going when it came to his motor.
Yeah, and I just bad thing is like right now we just need the minutes from him
Yeah, I mean,
strictly because like you can't play Mo that much with the obvious size disadvantage that he has. They don't trust Yelovich to play that many minutes, even though he's a better rebounder per minute than Brandon Garrison is. I'm not sure where the disconnect is with the staff and looking at rebounding numbers because I'm like even in this game, Brandon Garrison played more and had less rebounds.
this was a
Had,
tough one though. I think for Yelovich, and I think you see that
oh,
just in
it was,
his plus
but
minus like minus
yeah,
15. This
the
was a
part
tough.
about Yelovich that was frustrating for me, and you know me, like I'll stand on a table that Yelovich deserves more time, especially with all the injuries that he has. The part that frustrated me was that he had like just two careless turnovers
Yeah, they
in
were
this
bad
game,
at
and
big moments
they
too.
came at yeah they came at really inopportune times, and then also I think the two or one of the shots that he missed, which is the point blank layup that wasn't heavily contested. And it seemed like all of Yelly's mistakes were all
Critical.
in a crucial time early in that second half. It's unfortunate because you know me, like I'm all Yelly all the time, and just it sucked that his high pressure moments it didn't come to fruition there. But I also will say this: like he gave you good minutes up until that because I think his turnovers were almost on like back to back possessions.
Yeah,
And then he did not see the floor until he came in when they started doing the offense for defense switches towards the end of the game. I get it. Like, you kind of want to send a point to him, like, hey, we can't have those turnovers. But when you have Brandon Garrison run out there for 18 minutes getting you 3 rebounds, like, you have to understand that he's just got to be on the floor then.
yeah. No, I hear you, and I'm with you. Like Yelovich, I didn't think like I don't think he was like the worst player on the floor. We've obviously talked about some of the other guys here, but it definitely wasn't. I just like we said, it was just kind of a really tough matchup for him. But I am with you. There's something about BG getting 18 minutes in this type of game, and maybe it's just Pope is begging for it at some point to click in the second half, and he goes out there and gets physical, and it just never clicked. And the thing with Yelovich is like I just don't think he's athletic enough or strong enough to where even playing at that high level, like it was just really going to work in this one. And then you're kind of seeing he was. I don't know if you want to say he was pressing too much offensively. Like maybe he thought
I
because
think
he's
he
kind of
always is. I
like
think he knows he has that short leash, and just it seems like almost the very first mistake he makes, it's
yeah.
Captain Hook. He's getting pulled.
Yeah, this one, like I almost felt like maybe it was because he kind of kept getting torched on the defensive side, especially there in early in the second half, that he kind of pressed and felt like he needed to make up for it offensively, and then that leads to, a missed layup and two quick turnovers. So, um, yeah, I'm with you. I think Pope's hands were kind of tied in this game. Like again, we talked about Malachi had four fouls for a lot of the second half. You almost always have one of those two on. Like I know we're saying BG versus Yelovich, and maybe like that's something like we can talk about. Like we wouldn't mind seeing Yelovich at the five, but like that's just not something they've done all year. So I think that contributes to Garrison's minutes is that Pope looks at Yelovich as more of that four that he's going to sub with Diabate, and Garrison and Moreno are going to kind of sub for each other.
Yeah, and I don't, because Jake, I mean, let's just talk about this from like an offensive perspective, especially in this game. You have Florida who runs out three like traditional bigs that are all 6'9" or taller. What benefit does Brandon Garrison give you on the offensive end for a game like this? Because he doesn't
No,
have like the physicality, he doesn't have the back to the basket moves. He has the ability to make passes, but a lot of those times you see a turnover instead of just a pass being made. I just I genuinely don't understand why in this game like that first half should have been enough of a sign that Brandon wasn't going to give you what you needed. I don't know why he still managed to play 7 minutes in the second half. And it's not like his plus minus in the second half was terrible. I think he was -3. But I just like I'm trying to wrap my head around what this staff does on certain games, and like it seems like there earlier in the season they were throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks, and now it's just like, hey man, we won 8 and 9. Now we're not going to change anything for this game. I still wanted to see this team take a step up because Jake, if we were to beat Florida on the road, you and I, we start dreaming a little bit. We start getting a
Well,
little wide eyed. We
I would have been
start
looking
dreaming a
at
little bit.
hotels in Indy.
That's what, I don't know
Uh,
if I'd have gone that far yet, but I would have
I
been right
might
there with you if you would have talked me into it.
I might have. I might have started looking at booking a early April trip to Indianapolis. So yeah, I'm with you. I really do think it's just because we've seen it all year, right? Like Mo and Yelovich play the 4, Malachi and BG play the 5, and I think it's as simple as that now. Whether that should be the case and we should trust Yelovich at the 5, I would agree with you. Like I would like to run him out there and see how that would work in certain games, but I just think Pope's going to try to have one of BG or Malachi to play the 5 at all times, and it just is what it is.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, they don't run Malachi and Yelovich out there that often. Besides that first like initial 4 minutes,
Yeah,
and I mean, granted, obviously we started terribly in this game, so maybe that wasn't the move, but it really wasn't either of theirs two fault for at least the start of the game. It was just going under screens and Zaven Lee getting hot from
correct.
3. And it seems like we just abandoned anything that we were coming into the game with. I mean, Yelovich had 4 points and 3 rebounds in that first half and kind of just was told, all right, kind of done for the day, pal. Sit them down and pack them and go home. And especially when you're looking for physicality and looking for size, looking for spacing, Jake, like spacing against a Florida team who is already big, a little slower than most teams just because of the size that they bring out to the floor. And your 2 guards are attacking guards that, want to get downhill, especially with Ortega. Why in the world is Brandon Garrison playing this much? Why, like, even though I loved how Mo played, like, why was there not a spell where you had Mo and Yelovich on the floor to try and, still have that physical, mindset with Mo out there, but also stretch the floor on the opposing end? That way Ortega and Colin and Denzel can get downhill. It just seems like we really never set ourselves up for any good offensive execution.
Yeah, and I think you see how much better like Ortega can look when Yelovich is in, right? To your point, it creates that driving lane. I think it's really tough for him if he's trying to go downhill and you got, the 4 and the 5 don't have to respect either Diabate or
Yeah, and we run
Malachi.
that out there a lot with Diabate and Brandon Garrison, and I love the role we found with Mo as of late, but you just can't have those two on the floor together right now because if you remember, there was a couple times where Brandon Garrison's at the top of the key and they're giving him
Oh
7
yeah,
to 8 feet of cushion, and it's like BG, like you're supposed to be able to at least shoot these at a somewhat clip for them to be able to respect it, and they're at
yeah.
the
We
point
haven't
now
even
where they're just
seen him
tagging off.
attempt it in a while. Like I think maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong
I think
without
he took
looking
one
at the
during the
stats.
Oklahoma game,
Totally.
but I mean, he
Yeah,
was also kind of just feeling himself in that one too.
I
So
don't really remember many of those. And don't get me wrong, I don't want them going out there and shooting 3 to 5 a game. But I mean, if they are going to sag off you like that, I'm okay with you trying it once or twice and trying to keep them honest. We saw them knock that down earlier in the year and last year. So it's tough. And like I think you even see like I know this obviously is not the game that Trent Noah can play in. So like but like I think you see like how much better Ortega can look where there's those games that Trent can play in and you play him at the 4 for a little bit of run and create that spacing. So I'm with you. Like this would have been a game I think you give Yelovich a little bit more time out there, but at the same time, I'm with you in that sense. But like to an extent, like there is a call of like Yelovich when you have these 16 minutes, you got to play well, and you can't be a negative point per minute that you're out there essentially.
yeah, I mean, I understand. I think we're also getting to a point where you're making a guy just so like I don't think anxious is the right word, but he's so like amped up because he knows
Yeah.
first mistake you're done, and you're almost like done for the game until you know we'll run you out there to be the starter of the second half just because that's what we do now. You go from 4 DNPs in a row to all of a sudden you're our starter for the rest of the season. Jake, last thing I want to say, just talking about the offense, and I'm going to collect my thoughts here because I am trying not to get super frustrated. But if I see like any sort of other pin down screens for an Ortega spot up three in the corner, I'm going to lose my mind because it's always open. He's always catching it right there. And with his 2.5 second release time that he has, with the hitch that he has, the fact that he can't shoot well from three, anyways, what in the world do we have to do to get Colin Chandler run that same set for him? Because we didn't do it the entire game. All of Colin's threes came off of just random, spur of the luck. The ball finds his hands, he knocks down a long triple. When do you start drawing up plays for the best shooter you have on your team? It doesn't make any sense to me that he doesn't get plays drawn up for him. You've seen it now for what? At least a month and a half he's been playing above average to good basketball.
Yep.
What do we have to do for this guy to get plays drawn up for him?
I'm with you, man. And like this isn't like a situation with Cal with shooters where he just like tells them to go stand in the corner like we saw with Kellen Grady and countless other really good shooters.
Jamarl Baker.
Yeah,
Johnny Juzang.
We saw Pope last year find ways to scheme open his best shooter on
Cal. That was tough.
Talking about Kellen Grady. Yeah, it happens. But no, we saw Pope last year scheme plays to get his best shooter in Kobe Brea good open looks. And I don't think Colin Chandler's Kobe Brea because there's only one Kobe Brea in college basketball every year, right? There's one guy that's that good of a shooter. But with that said, like Colin's shooting a really, really good clip and getting more and more confident as the season's gone on. So I'm with you. Run some of those sets that you found Brea open threes last year. Run the pin down action like you're talking about with him in the corner. I would love to see it because I think if you find ways to scheme him open for a few shots, we are talking about a 15-plus scorer because he's going to create some that are late in the shot clock where everything just kind of goes to crap and, he's going to be the one to hit the shot. He's going to probably get a couple fast break points here and there. So you really could be looking at, an easy 15 a game scorer if you run some sets for him.
Jake, what if I told you that right now Colin's only shooting 0.8% less from three than Kobe Brea did last year?
I would believe it.
That's where we're at right now. And don't get me wrong, I don't think he's on the same level of shooter that Kobe Brea is either. But right now he's shooting 42.7%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Kobe last year shot 43.5%. And don't get me wrong, like at the end of the year, Kobe had to start taking a lot more contested threes because the offense really had to run through him latter half of last season. But you saw how many, especially when Lamont was healthy, you saw how many times plays were just drawn up to get Kobe a look, or even if it's not to get Kobe a look, get him coming off of a screen where if somebody is, over aggressive to it, it's, hey, Amari's rolling to the 10 and he's getting an easy layup there. And you've seen Colin's ability to play make and find open guys if the shot just isn't for him. It's not like he's been, stingy, kind of like Ortega has in certain games, to not make that extra pass. I think we're at the point where, what would you say the amount of threes per game you need to have from him? Because we talked about Kobe Brea last year. We wanted, 6 to 7 threes a game? I'm almost to that same point, and maybe even more so this year because we just don't have that guaranteed offense coming from anywhere else.
Yeah, my initial reaction when you first said it was 5. But I would not be upset if it's 6, 7, 8, in a single game because Colin's not a guy that takes bad shots either, right? Even I know we've talked about how much better he's played. Denzel is still a guy that if you tell me he goes out and shoots 8 threes, I probably think there's 3 heat checks in there or, a size up crossover trying to make something happen.
Fade away.
Colin doesn't do that. If he's taken 7 threes, they've come within the flow of the offense or it's the shot clock's winding down and somebody's got to make something happen. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm to that point that we were kind of talking about Kobe from a year ago, and hopefully they can kind of do it. I mean, what Collins shot 7 in this one, but to your point, like what he took probably 3 or 4 late down the stretch when nothing else was more. I think he took 2 on the same possession or whatever. Like
Yeah, he did. Yep.
so, it's just like you gotta find ways because I do like they do kind of run that action to get him shots late in the game. And I think it's proven. We've obviously talked at length about how clutch he is. And I think Pope realizes that and runs some offense to him and through him late in games. But I'm with you. There's no reason we can't run out there and let Colin knock down 2 threes to start the game.
Yeah, we had 49 points in the second half, Jake. 49 points. I mean, first off, you'd be hard pressed to find more halves this season, especially like in SEC play, that we've scored more than that. A lot of that is because Colin shot 6 of those 7 3-pointers in that half. Obviously, knocked down 4 of them. It's got to happen earlier. I mean, and
Yeah,
the thing
I'm with
is,
you.
we had kind of gotten away from falling into those big holes. I think we'd had what 3 game, or I mean, I guess not even really because Tennessee was only 2 games ago, but you'd almost gotten to the point where you weren't falling into huge deficits to where it's insurmountable to come back from. But then a game like this, your best perimeter threat is only taking 1 3 in the first half when you're struggling to find offense.
Yeah.
I don't get it, and especially when Ortega's forcing up shots. Denzel had 11 attempts in the first half. Like there's so many shots going. Like there was 21 shots taken between Denzel and Ortega in the first half. Only 11 for the other for everybody
Yeah.
else, which is insane. And you obviously want those two to be taking the bulk of your shot attempts. But when they're both shooting 40% and under from the field and not really getting good shot attempts in those anyway, it's just you got to
I
start
mean,
hitting that earlier.
I'm with you, and like I want them to take the bulk of the shots. I think with Colin, like those should be your 3 that take the most of your shots, and I think Collins should be taking as many as those 2. I mean, we obviously like I think Denzel played pretty good in this game. He clearly came out and was trying to do a lot early, and it took him a minute to settle down. And I think we could kind of all expect that to happen. But yeah, I'm with you. Him and Ortega early on, it was a lot of I'm going to try to go one on one, and I think as we've seen over the past, what of the 8 of 9 we had won prior to that, the games and times our offenses look the best is when we're moving the ball, getting it around, and I think that leads to where Ortega can catch a pass and have a step on his man and get to the rim, or Denzel can hit a 3 or get to that little mid range or floater that he likes. So like I just think it's gotta come within the offense, and for whatever reason in a lot of these games, and especially on Saturday, early on we're not running that. It's almost we go to that once we're down 14 points. It's like instead of coming out from moment one and kind of getting into those sets.
It almost feels like we just come out and try to get a feel for the game
Yeah,
for the
I
first
would
like
agree with that.
10, 15 minutes. And then we're like, okay, we know what's going to work now. We're so far deep into the regular season that you have enough tape on what these teams are going to do. It's not like this is early season. You don't know how this new transfer portal allotment's going to work and how each guy fits in. And don't get me wrong, Florida is obviously starting to peak at the right time. It shouldn't take you that long to realize like, hey, Colin's a good 3-point shooter. We need to get him 3-point shots. Hey, they're going to with the big bodies that they have around the rim, they're going to with Ortega getting downhill as much as he can. It's going to be hard to finish a lot of those shots. Like that should not have been something that we were surprised by, and it seemed like we were. Obviously, based on the first half, 34 points, 37% from the field,
Give me
and
give me four give me 4 threes a half from Colin. Give me 4 attempts because,
I
like
mean,
we mentioned,
I'm almost there with you. I mean,
like
I
he's
don't.
not going to take bad ones. Find him 4 decent looks each half, and I don't like Pope has shown the ability to do that. I know we keep going back to Kobe Bryant a year ago, but like he's shown the ability to scheme up those ones, and if there's going to be nights where Colin might go 2 of 8, but like there also will be a game where he makes 6 of them, and we're talking about it's his best game at Kentucky.
Yeah, and that's what I'm waiting for, man. I mean, I think it's obviously sounds a lot easier than it's going to be, but I do want to. I don't think we really touched on Ortega properly, and you kind of mentioned you hit Denzel there as well. I fall like somewhere in the middle with how Denzel played. I don't think it was a good game. I don't think it was a bad
Yeah,
game.
no, I agree.
I mean, I think it's just right in the middle. I think it's an average game. Obviously, I think he shot a little too much, and I think he forced a little bit too. When we're talking about Ortega away, this outside of like the Michigan State game early in the season and even the Gonzaga game, I'm gonna say this was one of the worst games of his Kentucky career. Like this was he was putrid on both sides of the ball. 4 of 14 from the field. Terrible defensively. 3 turnovers, only 2 assists. I don't. It's weird because like I'm not gonna say it's big games that he doesn't show up in because you just saw what he did against Arkansas. But it seems like obviously the games against Alabama last year he was nowhere to be seen. The Florida game this year, the Michigan State game, the Gonzaga game. I don't know what it is because I hate and Jake. I think you know this. Like I feel like I'm a Ortega hater, but it's just like you know what's in there. Like you saw what it was against Arkansas. You saw like the SEC Player of the Year
Yep.
that's in there and what he's capable of. And then he shows up to a game where like Ortega knows what he had to do in this game for this team to win. He knew it was, I don't want to say like a Hercules effort that he had to come out there with, but he knew he had to be the best player on the floor for this Kentucky team to win this game.
I
And he shows up with, I don't want to say it was bad effort. It wasn't bad effort, but it wasn't the Arkansas
Yep.
effort that you got. It wasn't that, tuned up a level. It wasn't anything that you'd expect for a game that was on ABC on the road in front of a bunch of, NBA draft scouts that are going to be looking. I don't know, man. I keep roller coaster, roller coaster, roller coaster. And I need the shirts for it. I'm still waiting for them.
there's there's a couple things with Ortega, right? And I I do agree with you. It was a pretty bad game. I won't say it's worse than a Michigan State game or Gonzaga, just because we strictly, or even probably Vandy a few weeks ago, just because like those games he looked completely uninterested in almost being on the floor. But I do think the thing with Ortega is there's a couple different things. If a team can is super long and lengthy, like we saw with Florida, and they pretty much make him a non-driver, he's going to settle for bad jump shots because he still wants to get his shots. And I think that would be almost like the next. And I know he's a senior, so like you're not going to get it, but like that would be, if you were to say what's the next level of evolution for Ortega, is to not settle for those shots. And clearly, if it hasn't clicked by now, it's not going to. Like he's still gonna, if he can't get to the rim, he's gonna settle to pull up and take a couple contested threes a game, or a turnaround jumper at the free throw line. And then the other thing, we've talked about it for 2 years now. Like if he's not getting going offensively, he disengages on the defensive side of the ball. And when he's the best, he scores a couple early. That engages him defensively, and then he builds off his defense for even better offense. Like those are the games where he's the best. But I think it's clear in games where he can't get to the rim, or get to the rim and get, you know, a couple finishes, or they're making everything so contested for him at the rim, he's just going to settle for bad jump shots. And you know, I me and you have gone back and forth on him a lot, but like I do agree this was obviously one of the worst Ortega games we've seen, and it came at a time where you're going to need him to kind of be special to beat a team like Florida, but it was pretty clear midway through the first half, like it was just looking like one of those games where it wasn't going to work for him. And I don't think Saturday was effort. I just think he kind of fell into those bad patterns that we saw earlier.
Well, do you think this is something that is, I don't want to say like correctable because you mentioned there he's a senior. You've only got, what, 6 more games left in the season. Just, do you think this team can overcome a bad Ortega game? on both
Yeah,
ends of the floor and still win games against, I don't want to say high level teams, but even a game like Georgia's scuffling as of late, so I'm not going to say Georgia, but even a game like Texas A&M, you think when we play A&M, you think we can survive a Florida-like performance from Otego away and still win?
I think so because honestly, you almost did it Saturday. If like we talked about, like I know it was 9 points, but like there were a handful of plays that just like if you knock down one of those open shots, if you know
Make a
hold
layup?
them to one or two less offensive rebounds that led to a three at a crucial time, and you have a couple favorable calls that you didn't get and everything, and Florida had the best home court whistle we've seen from any team in quite some time. Like if
Are we ever going to get one of those, Jake?
I don't
Who, do-
know,
who do we call? Who do we call for one of those?
but like I I still think this game Saturday was winnable. So I do think like you can overcome those games if like Denzel shoots a little better. I'm not saying you need Denzel to go score 25, but just play a little better, and I do think you can kind of overcome one of those games. Now, are you going to do it consistently? Probably not, but I think you could find a way to win one or two of them if you have a handful of those games going forward.
All right, Jake. Let's turn the page. We've talked about this game in a fair amount
We're
of
moving on. Hey,
depth,
the
depth and
season,
detail.
based on where we were, you know, after Missouri, the season is still, I think, in a pretty good spot overall.
I'm there with you. If you'd have been talking, hey, 3 months ago, after seeing how bad this team played against Michigan State and Gonzaga, you just lost by 9 to Florida on the road for first place in the SEC. I'm like, all right, turn things around. That's fine. Obviously you don't want to lose. We're not
No,
trying to lower the standard here. Jake loves lowering the standard, not me
no,
personally.
just think about, but like, just think about from Missouri. If I told you we were only going to lose two games until this point, and it was going to be at Vandy and at Florida, and like I know at Vandy is not that game was so bad that it's hard to just chalk it
Almost
up.
counts as like two losses. Yeah.
But like if you were just to say that they were going to go what 8-2 over that 10 game stretch after Missouri, I think one I wouldn't have believed you. I would have thought we were probably losing both Tennessee games and
Mhm.
whatever else, Arkansas, and like to go 8-2 over that stretch, I think is a huge win.
It definitely is. And Jake, let's talk about our next stretch of games. We've got 6 games left. Jake, I'll give you mine first. I'll let you sit and collect your thoughts on what you think these cats are going to do over.
I've already been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it since Saturday.
That's what this man is, all ball all the time. He might not know ball, but he is ball all
That's not
day,
true.
all the time. Jake, let me just read you the last 6 that we got. I know you know them, but for the fans out there, versus Georgia, at Auburn, at South Carolina, versus Vanderbilt, versus or at A&M, and then at home against Florida to wrap up the schedule. Jake, I could think the Cats will finish this out at 4-2. I think 4-2, and I think you'll feel good about going into the SEC tournament. Hopefully, that'll get you a double bye. We'll see how everybody else how the rest of the season plays out for everybody else. But Jake, where are you at with how this team will finish over the last 6 games?
So I mean I have changed quite a bit. I told you after I picked that 4-1 stretch with Tennessee and at Arkansas and all those, and I told you I thought we would go 4-1 over that stretch. I jokingly said you might go 2-6 over your next 8. I'm I'm past that. I am with you. 4-2 I think is very realistically on the table. I think even 3-3 is a pretty good win. I think you're probably pretty content if you just find a way to win 3 of them going into the tournament. But I'm with you. Like 4-2, I think is really there, and even I even almost say like it's 4-2, and the two losses are going to be probably at Auburn and at A&M. I think you get Vandy and Florida back on your home court, and you know South Carolina obviously stinks. This game tomorrow night is obviously huge. If you lose that one, then I'm probably begging for 3-3. But I think as long as you take care of business tomorrow night, I'm I'm going 4-2. And like I said, I think the two losses are the road games, and you kind of take care of business at home.
I think I got myself getting there a little different than you do. I mean, I think these next three I think will tell us
They're
a lot
massive.
about
Yep.
what this team is because I don't want to
They're
say I
your
don't think
three
any of
easiest.
I would say I don't think any of these three teams are. I don't want to say good. Like Georgia is really scuffling right now. They've lost five of their last six and just can't put it together. This Auburn team is just a middling SEC team, like middle of the pack, just okay. And then South Carolina is probably the worst team in the conference. I
Auburn's going
per
to have that place packed and rocking on Saturday, though. That's the only thing
yeah,
that
they will. But
it
Jake,
kind of
we also
reminds me of like Texas last year when we went to Texas. Like that's the vibe I'm getting here with Auburn.
Jake, we gotta get past these, man. But this is what we do. Like this is Kentucky basketball. We're
No,
gonna
I
it's gonna
agree.
be a packed, raucous crowd no matter where we go, anytime
Sure.
we go
No,
there.
I agree, but like
And
we can
this is
also
it's
sit
just
there and say this team is what this team is.
it
Like,
is.
yeah, we
And
can
I
talk
I think this team
we
is
can
better
talk
than
about
Auburn.
like should that be the case, and like should we have these type of performances in the off season, and like what's the answer, and is this staff the staff that's going to get us back to the point where we're a top 5 team and we're going in expecting to win every game? Sure, but like right now this team is what it is, and like this is the hand we got. And I I think Saturday is going to be. I I feel less confident about winning Saturday than I do beating Vandy at home, or potentially even beating Florida at home. As crazy as it sounds,
Yeah, I think you're just crazy.
that's
But
fine.
I've said you're crazy before, and you've turned out to be right on some of these. So
Yeah, some of
I
these
mean,
I feel like they're starting to stack up for the guy that doesn't know ball.
I don't know about that.
Laughed at me
But
when I said we were beating Arkansas. Laughed at me when I said we were going 4-1 over that stretch, with the one loss being to Vandy. Just told you we were going to exactly how the Florida game was going to play out. But hey, at some point
I
you'll learn
was
to.
right there with you with the
I mean,
entire Florida game.
yeah, I
It
know. Just listen to what I
you're
say
lucky
and agree with it. Just
you're
listen to
lucky I
what I
cannot
say and
reach
agree with it,
through
Kev.
you're lucky I cannot reach through the screen and
It's
honk your
fine, dude.
nose because I do it.
One day you'll learn to respect me. You'll learn to respect your elders and understand
I don't
that
know if we're ever
I
going to
know
get
ball.
there, but but I do want to mention like when we're talking about you talk about how you don't feel confident about the Auburn game. Just I think with this team, you can say you probably don't feel confident about almost any road game,
That's true.
just because
Yeah.
of how they show up. But I get that's what you're saying with the Auburn team, but I don't think it's a Auburn problem. I think it's a self-imposed team
Oh,
problem where we just
definitely.
can't, for whatever reason, we can get up for certain games on the road and we just don't show up for others. But I mean, let's think about it. Georgia's lost five of their last six. Auburn's lost their last four. A&M's lost their last four. This is not the gauntlet end of the
No, it's
schedule
not.
that everybody was prepping it up to be when they're like, oh, this is the toughest remaining schedule in the SEC.
I also
I think,
watched Auburn pretty much dominate Florida at home. Like, I'm with you. I hear you, and that they're playing
and
obviously a lot worse than they
it
were
was over. That was a month
a
ago,
month ago. So
and
I,
Florida's played so much better since then. And I don't
I
think that was
agree.
the same Florida team that played
I'm,
down
I'm
there
I'm just saying,
in
like,
Gainesville.
it's college
I'm at the
basketball, man.
point.
Weird stuff happens.
I think that like the passing grade for this team over the final six has to be 3-3. Like
Yes,
that is the
you have
bare
to. Yep.
that is the bare minimum. And then I'm thinking,
And if you lose tomorrow
pers-
night, that's not really on the table. So, like, got to take care of business tomorrow.
and part of me is like I think 4-2 is almost a minimum, just because I think this has really opened up for you. Like we mentioned, the scuffles that Georgia, A&M, and Auburn are going through, and then South Carolina is just awful anyways. But you mentioned it all starts with the game against Georgia. They're not playing well, Jake, as of late. They're really scuffling as of late, but they were off to a hot start there for a while. Winning games that I don't think anybody thought they should. They obviously,
They
I mean,
were
they beat,
ranked for a lot of the year.
yeah. I mean, they beat Arkansas by 14. They beat Missouri when Missouri had it rolling there. Lost to Tennessee by 1. I just the spread is out. It's 8.5 points. Kentucky's favored by.
It's down to 7.5 already.
Well, then go put money on the Cats, Jake, because I know we've been used to this Wednesday Saturday schedule. I think we've had that for 3 weeks rolling now. So going back to a Tuesday, it's one less day off than we're used to having. Can't lose this
6.5 now on DraftKings.
Well, then go bet it again. Even after I told you to bet it at 7.5, go bet it again, Jake. What if anything do you have to see for this team to win the game? I mean, obviously, I think we both agree that they got to win.
Georgia can score some points. I think we've seen that all year. They've also had the ability to just lay complete clunkers. If the only way I think Kentucky loses this game is if what's his name, Wilkerson. He's an elite scoring guard, I should say. There's a world where he comes out and we're having one of those bad defensive games from all of our guards, no matter who we throw at him, whether it's Owe, Aberdeen. There's a world where he just goes for 25 plus and you can't figure him out, can't slow him down, and that's the only, I think, avenue for Kentucky to flat out lose this game.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia shoots a lot of threes, so I think you just gotta have to actually.
Maybe they come in and just get crazy hot, but
I think you have to force them off the 3-point line, Jake. I don't remember if you remember last year's Georgia game when we lost that one down in Georgia, but you remember that clown Blue Cane and all the flops that he had.
Yep.
I mean, he just had 20 points in their 16-point loss to Oklahoma on the road. Let's put it this way. On Wednesday when we record after this game, if we're looking at a Kentucky loss to Georgia, I am just going to be might be some of the most sad you've ever seen me. Jake, you've seen me at some
low. The sky is falling.
You've seen me at some
roller coaster of emotions, baby.
I don't think this Georgia team's good, and you have them on your home floor. They've lost 5 of their last 6. They just lost by 16 to Oklahoma on the road. You cannot let them come into Rupp Arena and get a win. You just can't.
So if anything, if the way the season's gone, what it tells me is that you're going to lose to Georgia. We'll come out and beat Auburn by 20. We'll beat South Carolina. Beat Vandy, get destroyed by A&M, and beat Florida to end the season.
I mean, that could very well be the possibility of anything that we don't expect is what happens.
Yep.
All right, Jake, I'm ready for your score prediction. And you know what? Before you do it, because it always seems like we have the same one, I got a little note card right here. I'm going to write my score down that I think is going to be the final for tomorrow. And then you tell me yours, sir. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing because whenever I'm pretty confident, well, that's not true. I was really confident against Arkansas, and so I like Kentucky. The fact that this is down to 6.5, I don't understand really where that's coming from. I like Kentucky to score a lot in this game, and I like probably right at a double-digit win. I like the Cats 88-77 is the score I'm going to go with.
All right, well, I don't know if you can see that.
86-74.
86-74 Cats getting into the 80s, double-digit win, covering the spread. And I think this is going to be Ortega comes back to form a little bit. You see a couple pick sixes. But Jake, like I've mentioned,
I like Ortega over 20 in this one.
I'm there with you.
I might do a little parlay.
What I want for Ortega is to stop getting them in the games like this.
Well, I want him against Vandy. In these games.
I want him against Florida.
I mean, he did it to Arkansas. He did it to Tennessee. I mean, we can't act like he doesn't do it anytime.
If you remember that first Tennessee game, what do you have? 12 points, 13 points. Ortega was not good that first Tennessee game. So he's been about 50-50 in showing up for those big games.
I don't know. It just sounds like we have the Ortega hater here. But
hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Jake. At first, early in the season, I was a Denzel Aberdeen hater because, man, that guy, whew,
And he flipped it. It's
he
Ortega's
has
turn.
flipped it. It's Jake. All I need is consistent effort on both sides of the floor. And you've seen that Ortega can take over for this team when he does it. I want to see it in all of the big games. It's all right if you're not shooting the ball all that well. It's all right. That happens. I mean, look, Jake, I just saw Denzel shoot 8 of 21. Did you see me crushing his percentage from the field? No.
They don't have. Sorry, they don't have player props out yet. I was looking to tell the people what Kentucky minus six
Boyer's
and
bets
a
of the
half
night. Is that what we're
and
looking for?
Ortega over 20. I was looking for that little parlay there, but they don't have the player props yet. So that'll be it tomorrow. Thank people.
All right, Jake, you got anything else for the fine people in Big Blue Nation before they take on the Dogs tomorrow?
If you like Kentucky, I would go ahead and bet them now because I bet tomorrow before tip this game is back to 8.5, 9.
Jake, I'd still take it there.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But I'm telling you, if you like them, go get it now because that line by tip off, there's no way it goes down anymore. It'll creep back up.
All right, Big Blue Nation. So you've heard Jake and I's takes on what we think is going to happen in this Kentucky-Georgia game. And the fact that we are both so confident in it
Means
means
we're
we
losing.
might be coming here all Wednesday and talking to you about how the Cats let this one slip away. But for all of your Kentucky reactions, post-game breakdowns, anything you got in Big Blue Nation, come to the Cats Talk podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments on whatever you think of Jacob Boyers. He loves reading the comments about what you guys think about him. Right, Jake?
Absolutely. Bring it.
But yeah, make sure to follow us anywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. Jake's throwing it down over there on X. I saw, Jake, no shots at Michael
That's
Tang? No shots?
Jerome. Well, let's get his name right.
What is-
Jerome
I
Tang.
thought, was his middle name Michael? Where'd I get Michael? Who's Michael Tang?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's on me. That's on me.
Listen, I was
Yeah,
almost
go
gonna
for it.
let
I can't
go.
believe you let us go an hour here
Right.
before you lit up the victory cigar on him.
Oh my god, man! There's these certain guys in college basketball that are just the biggest clowns, and one of them is Jerome Tang. Don't point that finger over here. There's just a handful. There's just a handful that are coaches. You know, Mick Cronin's the biggest crybaby in the sport. But I think when you're talking about just the biggest clown, it's Jerome Tang. He got carried by a once-in-a-lifetime player at Kansas State to an Elite Eight where he choked away a game against Florida Atlantic, and he beat a not very good Kentucky team. And the dude did nothing but hype up that win and talk shit ever since. And they have spent more on their roster than anybody outside of maybe 3 schools every year. They're in the top 5 of spending in the
They
NIL.
pay Hugo a lot of money to go there too.
Hugo, they got who was the big man from Illinois that was demanding a ton of money. They got him and missed the tournament last year. He's a clown. He's a clown. And, you know, he talked about how Kentucky, like, the history didn't matter and, you know, they had more dudes. You had one dude. And you've had one dude in your 5 years of coaching there. And he took you to a place that you'll never get back to. And, you know, Kentucky's going to move on. Kansas State's clearly going to move on without you. And, yeah, man,
Look at that smile on your face. I can
it's
tell.
so funny because we brought him up Saturday, and obviously there was no inclination that he was going to be fired during the season.
Well, I think the bags over their head in the last game was a little bit of writing on the wall.
Apparently it was more so because of his press conference after they got destroyed by a horrible UC team. So
UC sucks too. So
Yeah.
Wes Miller,
But
you're talking about 2 programs who are talking about putting bags over their heads going to both games.
It's so funny, like, because Saturday we were talking, I'm like, I can't wait till the end of the year when this clown gets fired. And then it wasn't even 24 hours later. He gone. So, yeah, spark them up, BBN. I know there's not a ton of BBN fans out there that absolutely hate this guy, but the ones on social media, they hate him, and we can all watch him do that stupid little dance and that stupid little clap, and that's the highlight of his whole career as he's fired. So, Yeah, that's all I got, man.
I can't believe you didn't find a way to work that into the first hour, but I'm glad I gave you
well,
the
we
platform to
got
do it at the very end.
we got so locked in on the on actual Cats talk here. So,
Yep.
but we're
None
keeping
of
it
that.
Cats talk. Wildcats,
Yep.
Kansas State,
Those
firing
bums
their
over there
coach.
at Kansas State. All right, Jake. Well, that's all for us. Hopefully, the Cats go out and get a double-digit win. Make sure to follow the Cats Talk podcast anywhere and everywhere you get your social media content. Following the Kentucky Wildcats. Let's go get a double-digit point win here on Tuesday
Let's
night,
do it.
Jake.
A
Go
late
Big
one,
Blue.
9 p.m. Go Big Blue.